Here we go, people. The FA Cup final. And it's in your hands. That's right. It's in your hands, Man United, to stop this treble that you don't want happening. Doing a treble whilst beating your rivals. Ooh. That ain't good. I don't know why I'm doing this voice, but I'm sticking with it. That ain't good. But as I say, Man United are their own saving grace. They are the biggest threat to Manchester City's treble. And they could be stopped. How can Man United stop Pep Guardiola? I hear you scream at me. Well, let's find out. So as I said, Man City are on the verge of a treble. But this is how Man United can stop it from happening. Of course, I want to get your predictions in this video, and I will give mine at the end of it as well for this big FA Cup. Manchester derby for an FA Cup final. You gotta love that. So before we get into the key tactical battles and how this game is going to be won or lost, let's have a look at the potential lineups, because there are a few interesting elements there. For Pep Guardiola, I think the team selection comes down to one thing, and that's trust. Ortega will likely be in goal as he's played in the FA Cup throughout the season, but it is a treble. Do you even want to take that risk? I would not be surprised if I saw Ederson, but due to the fact that he's played Ortega up until now, we'll stick with him for now. But yeah, as I say, I'm not totally sure. I firmly believe that the defence picks itself for this match, and because when you're talking about a treble, you can't kind of save players for next week and the Champions League final. You've got to, do what's in front of you. And obviously, Man United are going to be so up for this. So you've got to pick your best 11. I think in another sort of world against a different team, he maybe makes a few more changes. But I firmly believe that his defence picks itself for the match, because I know Ake's back and he's a fantastic left-footed tool as part of that back three. But I think when you consider that trust element that I'm talking about, you must remember that this was the defence that they used to bypass Real Madrid. And I think that's where he will go. He will go with Akanji. And I also know that Ake was injured at the time, but I think that moment displayed to Pep that this is a defence that he can rely on. I also think there are some elements from that Man United side that were kind of similar. Of that Real Madrid side that are kind of similar to Man United. For the midfield, I think that picks itself at this point, and with the performances that they've showed as a collective, it's hard to argue against that. Thogden and Mahrez are both obviously in with a shout, but I think this is the best midfield for the bigger occasions, especially with Jack Grealish's contribution on the left and the amount of changes that occurred last week in that game against Brentford. With Man United, there's slightly more debating to be done as for who starts. For example, I think Eriksen will start because of the form that he's displayed recently and the cohesion that he has with Casemiro. And I also think that Eriksen defensively against Man United in that 2-1 victory was very, very impressive. I remember thinking that as a team, as a unit, they defended very well. And I think that's actually something with Eriksen that you kind of just think he's not good defensively, but he's better than people give him credit for. He does read the game very well from that point of view. On the other hand, it was Fred who started against Fulham on the last day of the season. He also put in a standout performance, registering an assist and an insane 5 key passes. You talk about Eriksen defensively and people don't talk about that. With Fred, that's amazing offensive output. I'm not saying it's offensive. I think if you're a Man United fan, you're delighted with that. You get what I'm saying. From an attacking point of view. Now, over the course of the season, we've spoken about it many times, especially on the fallout, that Bruno is that main creator, more so than probably any other team in the league. And he's someone that Man City will look to nullify, obviously, and there may be a good case for Fred to start this one. Definitely one for the Man United fans to debate in the comments. Who would be your midfield 3? Let me know down there below. There are a few questions also about how the lineup will look with regards to injury. Anthony went off against Chelsea and wasn't in the squad for the Fulham game, so maybe a doubt. It's also just come out that Anthony Martial is injured and will miss the match without Weghorst taking his place, which could severely impact the mobility and any chance Man United had of utilising those balls in behind. And when we're talking about Martial, this is now Martial's 7th separate injury this season. To the tactics board! Oh, love saying that. So, this image here is the tactic that I think Man United could use to get the best over Man City in transition. This is what I think that they should do and possibly will do against Man City. So for starters, we know that Man United will sit deep for periods, which means that they'll win the ball in their own box often. This is where they need to look to expose Man City on that counter-attack. Akanji is a defender who can be very aggressive in his defending and is often solid with his output. One area I think that Man United could expose Man City is aerial duels against Akanji. Akanji only had a 41% aerial duel success rate in the Premier League. Yes, we're clutching at straws, but this is one of the greatest teams of all time. So we must get your straws out, Man United fans. Okay? We're trying to stop this treble here. Well, giving them an option. I'm neutral. 41% success rate when it comes to aerial duels in the Premier League. So Man United could ask Weghorst to peel to that left side, which could entice Akanji into getting tight with him. This allows Sancho to make the secondary movement in behind into space. And if Akanji does not get tight, then Weghorst has time to bring the ball down, lay it off into Bruno's path, and Bruno can play those gorgeous little key passes that he likes to do. And this is a system that relies on Man United inviting pressure onto themselves in order to create that space in behind, which is going to happen anyway. So it doesn't come without an element of risk, but at the same time, I think you would expect to see on several occasions a low block from Man United. Although it was a bit of a mid-block actually in that 2-1 game. But I think there will be moments when they look to retreat on that massive Wembley pitch. Focusing attacking play down the left side is also something that I think could be beneficial to Rashford's involvement in the game. He's obviously crucial for them. And with play on the other side of the pitch, it could give him the ability to move into spaces unnoticed. He may even have chances to make direct movements in between Diaz and Walker and engineer a one-on-one opportunity. So what do Man City need to do to take it out of Man United's hands? So I think we're all pretty familiar with the Man City tactical approach. At this stage, it's a team where you will have Rodri sitting there, of course, and this would be in a more cautious approach, but very, very often, and I saw it obviously against Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, they will move to a sort of 3-2-5 and look to get Stones to progress and to essentially have a back three. But I think that they may be that little bit more cautious, certainly at the start of the game. We know John Stones likes to step into midfield, but against world-class midfields, and there are some world-class players, and this is a huge, huge game, I think we may see Man City start with a 4 and stick with a 4 just that little bit more often. I think the important thing here is that this would allow Man City to settle the game and lower the tempo. I think it also decreases the risk of Man United being able to stretch the back three in the opening exchanges of the match. And I think the longer the game goes on and it being sort of 0-0, you would imagine that control to be exerted by this fantastic Man City side. Man City often use the 3-2-5 when they face a team with a world-class midfield. For example, they used it as a method of control against Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, but against Manchester United, I think Man City have enough quality within the three-man midfield to have control of the match without sacrificing their defence. And towards the latter stages, if it's still 0-0, Man City may look to alter this, though, and allow Gundogan to move into a more advanced position. Haaland's contribution, I think, is going to be really important in this one, and we have to talk about him because in his first match against Man United, he scored a hat-trick and registered 2 assists. However, when Man United faced Man City again, Haaland had a really quiet one, and Man City obviously lost that one 2-1. The important thing for Man City is that they don't really need to play to Haaland. Instead, I think they just need to create chances naturally, and Haaland will inevitably benefit from this. You also have the option of moving KDB higher up and putting him up with Haaland. Same principles apply for Man City. You then go to that 3. John Stones moves up that little bit more. If you want to make other changes, of course, you can do as well. And then you have the 5 that we, iconically know when it comes to Man City along the high line there, with that block from Rodri and John Stones from defensive situations also being there as that 5 at the back that stay back and then the 5 that go forward. And actually, the other option is, even if they are winning the game and they still want to hurt them on the break, if you think about the Arsenal game, as Man United look to put more bodies further up the pitch, you could put KDB right up alongside Haaland, retain everything else you have here, let Bernardo drop in a little bit more and just be a bit more resolute. As 2 backs of 4, KDB can drop back when he wants or be that second striker. So, will the treble aspirations of Man City march on after this game? Look, Man United have a puncher's chance. They do have a puncher's chance. Of course they do. But there's a reason why we are all talking about Man City almost already winning the treble and quite possibly winning it at a canter. They have been outrageously good. I've seen them live in that game against Real Madrid, and they were outrageously good in that one as well. A little bit of a momentum breaker, if I'm really clutching, is that obviously that defeat against Brentford, but so many changes were made, so you can't really, have anything when it comes to that, really. But at the same time, saying that and believing that is a different thing. But again, we're clutching at straws. This is a wonderful Man City team that will go into this game as huge, huge favourites. I think the first half of this game is absolutely crucial. How long can they hang in there, Man United? Because they will always have that opportunity. What will be interesting, if you think of those, heavy defeats to Man City previously in the season, or that game against Liverpool where they got themselves pretty heavily pumped, well, definitely 7-0, they kind of lost their way. Martinez will not be playing in this game, of course. Lindelof will play alongside Varane. I think it's a solid team, and I think Ten Hag will have them in the right mindset for it. But I'm waffling, aren't I? I just can't see Man City not winning this game. But football's football, right? Football is fantastic. And football causes all sorts. We often think, well, it's definitely this and it's definitely that. And they're definitely winning the league. And they're definitely going to win the cup. And they're definitely going to win the treble. It don't work like that. And Man United do have great experience in there. Great quality in there. Good pacing behind as well. So they've got a great chance. Get through the first half and see where you are after that. I think that would be the big thing, because if Man City blow you away with 2 goals in the first half, this game is finished. For Man United, it's about the spine of the team for me. Bruno Fernandes, can he create? Can he get some joy there? Casemiro, can he stop this Man City side and make a big impact there, read the game? And Varane, that's the crucial element. And De Gea, can he behave himself? I know he's got a lot of plaudits this week because of the clean sheets he's got, but he's also got a clanger in him as well. When it comes to Man City, we know they're so fluent. We know they're so fantastic. I think there's also another key battle here, actually, on this side here. Grealish and Wan-Bissaka will be interesting, although Grealish will inevitably come into more central areas when he attacks. For me, it's these players. Gundogan, on the big stage, showing that composure. Haaland, being the bully that he is, and with everything that's happened this season, you would not be surprised at him scoring a goal. And of course, KDB generally steps up with a bit of quality at some stage. And also, I guess, the goalkeeper position. Will he go with Ortega or Ederson? That could be a weakness that they could look to prey on a little bit, Man United. So there's options, there's quality. It could be an absolutely fantastic one. You've got to hope that Man United get that first goal, because you would imagine Man City would be able to control the game. But it's one win apiece so far. I'm going to go boring, I'm afraid. I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory for Man City. I want to see something different. Of course you do. You always want the underdog to win. But this Man City side is just too good. And I think this is the next step towards a treble, in my opinion. 2-0. I'm going to go KDB with maybe both assists, Gundogan and Haaland to score the goals. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button and the like button, and I will see you next time. So here are transfers that each of the Premier League teams for the 2023-24 season have to complete this summer, or should at the very least. Let's go. Just to say as well, we're going to try and not give you those really, really, really obvious choices, because, there's no fun in that. Right, Crystal Palace. This is a fun one. Matheus França, 19 years old, estimated value 5 million, estimated cost 20 million, I'm going to go with.